Welcomes his old team into his city and a rowdy Arrowhead.
There's no city in the world that accepts a defeat worse than Philadelphia does.
How will the Eagles respond after a divisional defeat to the Redskins?
Don't ever let them see if you're frustrated or not.
Can Donovan McNab get back to his scrambling and high-flying ways?
That's how you play Eagle football.
And this year, these two have defined how the Chiefs play football.
Hey, I just have one question. Who's number one?
You are, and to win tonight guarantees you stay there for another week. Eagles and Chiefs in an hour. NFL Tonight, next. Will I have help and
It's a special Thursday night edition. We're nuts. We're just nuts.
because they're trying to squeeze a little more football into November before we, as Bob Seger, my friend, once sang, turn the page. Hi, everybody. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Sean Salisbury. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Boom.
Nice to see you again. Your ties,
I know,
Tommy.
I know.
Really,
Upgrade.
really. And Sean, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. You're ubiquitous. You're everywhere right now, aren't
What?
Ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good word for Scrabble.
You like that one,
Really
don't you?
good word for Scrabble. You and Steve, it's
I know.
The brains of the outfit.
Well, let's see, guys. Tonight, interesting, huh? Let's see. We got a first-place team, Philadelphia. They're perfect 4-0 on the road, playing on the road. At a last-place team, Kansas City, who only last Sunday, the final Sunday in November, finally won a home game. 6-4 Eagles at 3-7 Chiefs. This should be easy, right? Well, whoa. Hold on. Philly is coming off a mind-numbing 13-3 loss to Washington, a game that if they had won, they could have taken a complete stranglehold in the NFC East. And the Chiefs are coming off a pretty impressive 19-7 win over a Seahawks team that then was over 500. Totally throttling a Seahawk attack that was beginning to spread its wings. And Dick Vermeil is coaching against Philadelphia, where he once began. Sound confusing? You betcha. That's why we need Susie Colbert to shed a little light on this situation. Suze, help.
Well, number one, help, because it's really cold here, Chris, 24 degrees, but the good news is there's not going to be much wind. Now, we know that both teams have played much better on the road, although Kansas City did get back on track here last week. But still, advantage to the Eagles, especially when they're on defense. Defensive end Corey Simon explained that they take advantage of the quiet when they're on defense. They can hear all of the play calls, make sure they're in perfect position. They've had fewer blown coverages when they're on the road. This isn't good news for Trent Green. He knows that this Philly D, attacking, blitzing, number one against the pass. They've had 32 sacks. 14 different defenders have come up with sacks, so he's got his work cut out for them. And just one injury note for the Eagles on defense. Defensive end Brandon Whiting is still out, so the rookie, Derek Burgess, will get the start. Chris, plenty of storylines here tonight. I'll see you again at kick.
All right, Susie, and a hot toddy perhaps for the evening in the offer? Well, we can't discuss that. That'll be a little bit later on. Maybe for us, it's going to be a long night. Enjoy the game. We'll see you a little later. Now, last week, and Susie knows this, we all know it, 3 for 13 on third downs, the Philadelphia Eagles, which is mind-numbing for a first-place team at home in a big game, in a big spot. Now look at the teams, except for Cleveland, on this list as the worst third-down team. Now look, you can look at a lot of stats.
Yes.
I mean, it kind of goes opposite because they're so good in the red zone, but they're so poor on third downs. Well, if you have bad third-down conversions, you're not sustaining drives.
Correct.
You're not helping your defense. That means you're not scoring a lot of points. And basically, guys, after last week on Philadelphia, I think it was the most shocking loss of the year in a lot of ways to Washington. What?
There's a lot to that what, Boomer, but I'll tell you what, third down being an important down, I'm convinced that first down's the most important down in football. And while they're pretty good on first down, they're not consistent enough on first down. Anytime you're in 3rd and 7 or more, there's not a lot of plays in your playbook for that. And the Eagles got to win on first down tonight and all the time, getting 2nd and 4, 3rd and 4, and then it's much easier to convert. Last year they were 40% on third down, and that'll go up this year if they can win on first down. And I'll tell you what, Donovan McNab is a man, and probably the reason why they are up there on first down when they do succeed is because of his feet and his arm. But they've got to win on first down, Tommy, because when you're in 2nd and 3rd down, you cannot, long yards, you can't do it. The Eagles' defense is another one now.
And, you know, actually the Eagles are a pretty good first down team in terms of their yardage,
Right.
which inexplicable how bad they are on third down, but it limits the possessions that they have, and further limiting those possessions is what offenses are doing to them. And I think Washington gave you the blueprint last weekend. Run, run, and run some more. 45 carries for 155 yards against them last week, and I think that this interior defense, and Jim Johnson does a great job of putting together the combination run, pass, blitzes, but certainly I think that when you start talking about having a game plan against this team, for Kansas City, it's going to begin with Priest Holmes. He averages 5 yards per carry. That's a half a first down every time he touches the ball. Dick Vermeil has convinced him that he's going to give him the ball 25, 30 times a game. And I think when you look at Priest Holmes, and we know that basically the Kansas City Chiefs want to be the mini Rams. They don't have a lot of those weapons in place. Boom, they do have that Marshall Faulk-style running back. Priest Holmes leads the AFC in total yards from scrimmage.
902 yards rushing for him. That's 5th best overall in football. And that's pretty good for a team that's 3-7.
That's correct.
Where you figure you're not getting a lot of touches once you fall behind.
Right.
Here's a stat that's kind of befuddling because you think about the Chiefs. They want to be the mini Rams, but often, despite good offensive statistics, because they rank top 10 in the department.
20 to 20.
Some of their players look like mini-me. I mean, they can't be the mini Rams unless you can get in the end zone.
There's no question, and they're very many, Boomer. The interesting thing, they play triangle football. We know Gonzalez, the tight end. We know the running backs are, and with Priest Holmes receiving and Trent Green, all the more reason they should be able to stretch the ball. Their leading receiver at wideout has 20 catches. That's the worst in the league. I might get 20 in 10 games. They've got to find a way with Minnis, Thomas, Alexander to stretch it outside the numbers, not just inside. They are absolutely no threat. There you see a drop on a hit. You've got to make that catch. You can't put your quarterback in this, and they throw for 54% of their passes, which is not enough. You've got to get more production on the outside, Boomer. You cannot just check the ball down. These guys got to win. Receivers got to win. They got to help Trent Green out. 20 receptions, not good enough as a wide receiver. Rod Smith had that in 2 games.
Yeah, he did. Philly at the Chiefs. That's our game tonight at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. That's 6:30 Mountain, 5:30 Pacific. And then what time would that be, Hawaii?
It's 5 hours.
3:30. We'll have much more on that game, but we've got plenty of NFL news when we come back. The war of words between Peyton Manning and Jim Mora. Are things coming to a head in Indy?
We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked.
And are Terry Glenn's days over in New England?
Okay, guys, gather around.
This is Sam Adams of the Baltimore Ravens. Sam helps the United Way build stronger communities by participating in first aid training developed to help kids succeed. Sam knows the meaning of the word success.
Support his head, apply gentle pressure, check the pulse, and do not panic.
Panic.
With quality tools from Delta and your own brand of inspiration, you can build most anything, including memories. Delta's table saw, scroll saw, and compound miter saw, specially priced for the holiday season.
It's the gift of a grandchild's laugh. It's the gift of a sister's advice. It's the holiday gift they'll really love. Time together. Thanks to Verizon Wireless.
Now get 3,500 total monthly minutes for just $35 monthly access on select digital plans. So you can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. and talk all you want with nationwide long distance included. And get a free Ericsson phone with activation after mail-in rebate.
So give your loved ones the gift they really want. You. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
ESPN brings you great NFL action on Thursday night. Donovan McNab's Eagles have their claws on the NFC East. But first must get past KC's Trent Green and Tony Gonzalez. Eagles Chiefs, 8:30 tonight on ESPN.
Everyone knew his left hook was devastating.
If he hits you in the jaw, you were down.
But no one knew the secret he was hiding.
This is a very dangerous situation.
Joe Frazier's Sports Century, 8 p.m. Friday on ESPN Classic.
When you turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 3 others in field position to set up touchdowns. You ain't gonna beat anybody I just talked about. Anybody. All right? And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked.
To be called out in front of the whole country, you know, where that press conference is going to be replayed over and over and over again in front of the whole country, that bothers me. It really does. But you know what? I can handle it, and I will handle it because I am the player and he's the coach, and that's the way it is. But, you know, if somebody asks me if that bothers me, you damn right it bothers me.
There was some verbal volleying between a pretty long-time successful coach and the cornerstone of the Indianapolis Colts from earlier in the week. Today should be a day of reconciliation. Bob Holtzman has a report from Indy.
Quarterback Peyton Manning worked out with his teammates Thursday, a day after publicly blasting Colts head coach Jim Mora. Before practice, Mora and Manning met in the coach's office to talk to each other instead of about each other for the first time this week.
As far as I'm concerned, it's history. Everything's fine, back to normal, no problems. You know, it's over. I mean, it's a done deal.
Mora said little else. Manning said nothing at all. He was a no-show in the locker room after practice. After 3 straight losses and a 4-day feud, Manning's teammates say their focus is still football.
It hasn't been a distraction at all. You know, Peyton's our leader, and he's going to be our leader till he retires. So, you know, it didn't affect anybody else besides Peyton.
Guys in this locker room get upset with each other all the time. And it's part of the game. It's behind us, you know.
And that stuff got blew out of proportion. No need for it to get blew that far out of proportion. We're a team. We're going to stick together as a team. We're not going to let any of that bother us. You know, we still got 6 games to go, and, you know, we're trying to make a run to the playoffs.
I think that we all know we're professionals. You know, people are going to get upset, and it's just one of those things that we have to stay focused on what we got to do, and that's beating Baltimore this weekend.
Jeff Saturday says everyone in the Colts locker room is frustrated right now, not just Manning and Mora. That's what happens when you're 4-6. And Chris, the Colts say they desperately need a win Sunday, not just to end a 3-game losing streak, but also to put an end to this frustration.
Yeah, everything's, if not forgotten, at least swept under the rug a little bit if you went first of all. Look, we started to preface it before. Guys, Jim Mora, been in the league a long time. Okay,
Fine coach.
He's got a great coach, a fine coach, turned teams around. Peyton Manning is the cornerstone not only of the franchise, but one of the league. Look, I think they're both embarrassed. This isn't what we've been talking about in many other things. I don't believe. Peyton, I'm sure she's going to be upset. I don't think this is ooh, they're not talking again for the rest of the year. I think they're both a little embarrassed about what happened between each other. Don't you think, Tom?
I think you certainly have to be very careful if you're Jim Mora when you issue that kind of criticism to your franchise player, as you said. And we have to remember the kind of player that Peyton Manning is. Consecutive games, only Brett Favre has more right now. Never missed a start. Only missed 1 practice during the course of his life. 3-time Pro Bowler. Going to be, as you heard his team say, going to be the cornerstone of that franchise for many, many years to come. And I think it's very difficult right now, unless they can somehow heal this chasm that's gone on between them, very difficult to imagine a scenario where Jim Mora is coaching his football team next year if Peyton Manning doesn't want him to.
Yeah, and Peyton will be directly responsible. If they want a new head coach, I'm sure they'll give Peyton the due and see if he wants to have a new head coach. But here's the deal. It's football. It's frustrating. Peyton Manning's frustrated, and he should be. But I'll tell you this. Peyton Manning, after that game on Sunday, I'd be willing to bet my salary he was the first one in the complex, probably beat half the coaches there. He has more responsibility on that team than the governor of Indiana does. He is the man, and they all know it. The players know it. They rally around him. And, Boomer, the thing about it is that when you call out your superstar player, you can't treat them all the same. You can't treat Terry Glenn the same way you treat Peyton Manning. And I love Jim Mora also, but he's the man. And when things happen, Peyton's going to be the one to make those decisions on the field, and he's got to live with it. But Peyton will not let it fester. He'll take care of it, and you heard him say it. I'm a player. He's the coach, and that's the way Peyton will treat it.
And just the last note, that criticism was all issued toward Peyton Manning. No Edgerrin James in that lineup. Jerome Pathon in and out. Terrence Wilkins in and out. And I think that Peyton Manning forcing that football down the field to Marvin Harrison's, a lot of defenses figuring it out.
A lot of frustration on a team that began 2-0 and scoring about 90 points and winning
the
games,
Boomer.
both in the division. And I will tell you something else. Whatever happens in the coaching situation after, it's not as a result of what we just saw. That may be part of it, and I'm not saying one way or the other. whatever happens has already been going on one way or the other, I think. You mentioned Terry Glenn. You mentioned now here's a team in the AFC East that has plenty to be happy about, the New England Patriots. The ongoing saga of Terry Glenn, pathetic in a lot of ways, is taking on a new episode. Glenn has played just one game this year for the 6-5 New England Pats, partly because of a 4-game season-opening NFL suspension for violating substance abuse policies, partly because of a hamstring injury after he came back, partly because he's at odds over the Patriots' decision to withhold $8.5 million of a $11 million signing bonus after he bolted training camp over the league suspension. As they say on late-night TV, but wait, there's more. He's been suspended for one game by Coach Bill Belichick, who didn't elaborate, but this elaboration, a sight of a locker virtually cleaned out, including Terry Glenn's nameplate.
It's a disciplinary matter, and that's all. We've been down this road before, fellas. We've been down this road before, and I'm not going to comment on the specifics of team discipline. I said in training camp that I hope that we could resolve this, and that I wanted to work to resolve it in training camp, and I still feel that way. But based on what happened, this is what I had to do.
Terry Glenn's made a lot of headlines. Look, a productive player, obviously very talented. A lot of headlines other than, hey, I have a lot of catchers or touchdown catches since his first year, Tom.
Well, and I think we have to look back at that first year when Bill Parcells was on him 24/7, and when he forced him to go out and play, and everyone remembers the infamous she comments made toward Terry Glenn, but I think it brought the best out of him. The 90 catches his rookie year is still a record for a rookie, and I think he needs that kind of discipline. He's not going to get it now in New England. You know, I'm only a linebacker, but I can figure this out now. You suspended him for a game, but you cleaned out his locker. I think you've seen the last of him in a New England uniform, but certainly I think he could be a viable receiver for another organization.
And, you know, eventually it's like anything else. You can't change a guy unless he wants to be changed. He is a great talent. But you know what? If he doesn't realize how lucky he is to be playing football, I know that he can order a Happy Meal down there or service one at McDonald's if he doesn't change. This guy has had every opportunity in the world, and if Bill Belichick doesn't want to say it, I will. He's bonehead. He's got everything in front of him. They don't need him in New England. I've seen a bunch of receivers and a team come together ever since he's been gone. And you know what? I know it's Terry. Maybe I'm going to start calling him Teresa. I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to get over it, Boomer. This guy's nothing but a cancer on that football team. He needs to go play somewhere else or realize how good he's got it, because he's an embarrassment to the Patriots. He's an embarrassment to himself and to the National Football League. Too many chances.
Well, in Boston, I've suggested that they trade him for Carl Everett on the Red Sox, and they just said that would be fine.
You get one in the same.
Hey, let me ask you guys something. What is it at the wide receiver position? I'm not calling out the whole position, obviously, and I'm not even going to get into names. But what is it when one receiver says, I play when I want to play? What is it when maybe the most tenacious wide receiver in the league, certainly the most successful this year, says what the coach and I have between each other is irreconcilable? What is it about this position? Do we have to go back to guys that started in the 80s, like the Raiders, like Jerry Rice and Timmy Brown? What are they thinking about? What's going on with a lot of these very talented players at the wide receiver position? I don't get it. If you're talking about a new breed of player, it seems like the breed times 3 often is at that position. Wow. Well, let's bring in John Clayton to add a little more fuel to the fire. We're all calling out everybody. John, look ahead in your crystal ball. The Swami has his. Not too successful. You have yours. Now where does Terry Glenn and the Patriots go? I mean, is this now finished?
Well, here's what's going to happen. On Monday, the locker goes back. They're going to fill it up with all his stuff, and Terry Glenn has to go out and practice again. They're going to list him as probable, and he's probably not going to practice. And all Bill Belichick is doing right now is building a case to reclaim that $8.5 million, get it back, and eventually get rid of Terry Glenn. Terry's falling into a trap here. He's being very stupid about the way he's handling things because they don't believe he has a hamstring injury. He says he has a hamstring injury, and they're going to eventually have a grievance over this. I don't think you're going to see Terry put on that uniform, and I think you'll see him be put on a suspended list for the rest of the season come next week if he doesn't practice.
Well, you're up there in Seattle, and the Seahawks are hosting the Chargers this week in the AFC West. Mike Riley and the Chargers has such a great start at 5-2, yet his name has been mentioned in connection with replacing Ted Tolner at San Diego State, right or wrong. Giants defensive coordinator John Fox's name's out there. Other names as well. Does Mike Riley need this right now, John?
Well, what he needs is a job, not right now, but after the season, because it doesn't look like he's going to be back next year. But here's the problem. San Diego State wants to close this job in 10 days. You know, you also mentioned Rich Brooks, Dick Tomei. They have one more interview next week, and they've gotten a word to Mike Riley that he is at the top of the list. What he's got to do is get through this game against Seattle. If he wins, he's probably going to lose the chance to get the San Diego State job, just like last year he lost the chance to get the Southern Cal job. What he's worried about, his assistant coaches may not get jobs at the end of the season, but there will be a coaching change unless there's a great finish by the Chargers.
Shades of June Jones' situation a couple of years ago involving the Chargers in Hawaii. Perhaps. Denver gets Terrell Davis back this week. Big game for them at Miami. He's not going to be the Terrell that we've known and loved, John, but what's happening here with TD? Is this going to be at least a pretty good player down the stretch of the Broncos field?
Well, the question is, can he go more than 2 games? Because the joke going around now, he's not played in 42 out of 50 games, so he's like a starting pitcher. He's able to go every 5 games. And so there's a kind of a nice jovial spirit now that TD is back, because they know they may not have Rod Smith. They're definitely not going to have Keith Poole. They need a spark from the running game. TD is able to do that. Terrell Davis is a good running back. They think he can get 100 yards in this game, even though it's a good Dolphin defense, and they're going to need it. So really, TD's happy going into this one, and he thinks he's going to be able to perform well. He's probably as jacked as he was at the beginning of the season.
Well, when he came out and played pretty well in that opening Monday night, that seems a long time ago, John. Have a little salmon, little Chinook salmon up there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right, John. Thank you very much. Well, Tommy, Denver. Well, it's been coming, hadn't it? Mike Shanahan maybe once a week.
Alex Gibbs.
Come back. And maybe 3 times. Please get, now what?
Well, I think whether it's Terrell Davis, Mike Anderson, or Landis Gary, the key is the offensive line. And finally, Alex Gibbs back full-time for the Denver Broncos, helping out with that offensive line. Ever since they lost Mark Schlereth and Tony Jones, they haven't been the same. And I think if he gets that offensive line going, then you're going to see all of those running backs, or at least one of those running backs, start having some good afternoons.
Jameer's blistered in there right away, Tom?
Well, they had a meeting, not with the head coach, but with Alex Gibbs and the offense.
We're not talking about Alex Gibbs, a member of the Bee Gees.
No,
We're talking about one of the best position coaches in football. Next up, can Donovan McNab return to his MVP caliber play of a year ago? Maybe it depends on his diet.
Ma, I need some more Chucky soup.
I don't like that too much.
And Trent Green not having the season he expected. Closer look at the Chiefs' offense a little bit later on in the Spectacular of NFL Tonight.
It's very clear our love is here to stay.
Heading home for the holidays? See your Chrysler dealer first for the security of 7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain protection on any new Chrysler. Plus, we've extended 0% APR on select 2002s through the end of the year.
We're here. Our love is here to stay.
Of all the things you love about Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs, this may be the most interesting. Announcing interest-free financing on all Toyota Corollas, Tundras, and 4Runners for a limited time only.
He's a field goal kicker. What's so amazing about a field goal?
It's 63 yards under pressure. Look, I got $40. It says none of y'all can hit from half that distance.
You got it.
Guys, believe you're up.
College football Friday. It's the MAC Championship. Passing sensation Byron Leftwich and Marshall's Herd thunder into Toledo to take on the Rockets. Marshall, Toledo, 7:30 tomorrow on ESPN.
One blustery autumn Sunday, 2 warriors hunkered down in the fury of battle.
For the win! Interception!
With one crushing blow, momentum turned. As the stalwart Viking mounted a final aerial assault, the battered warrior could only watch his hopes of victory vanish. And in defeat, learned dignity and grace.
NFL 2K2. Rated E for everyone.
This holiday season,
share the gift of Stetson.
Here in Italy, there's a place where the chicken marsala is so good you never forget it. And now Chef Neri has taught our Olive Garden chefs the secrets of her recipe so they can make it for you tonight. Olive Garden, when you're here, you're family.
Donovan McNab, they're looking for magic from him. Now would be the time. Down the home stretch for the first-place Eagles at the Chiefs at the bottom of the hour. Last season, that man, Donovan McNab, was runner-up to Marshall Faulk for MVP of the entire league. Why not? He accounted for 75% of the Eagles' offense, led Philly to the divisional playoffs, doing it with his arm and his legs. Here's Steve Sable.
You can understand why everyone in Philadelphia wants to do everything they can to protect Donovan McNab. Last season, he finished second to Marshall Faulk for the MVP award, led the Eagles to the divisional playoffs, and accounted for 75% of his team's offense.
He probably doesn't realize in many games he is the Lone Ranger. Their longest run is going to be a huddle break. The wide receivers can't get open.
This is your show. How you go, it goes. All the way.
Most people would say, is there anybody here that can help me? You know, am I here alone? And he doesn't. And I think that's why his teammates in the league respects him.
In his quest to be the best, he invites everyone to be with him.
He made something happen today.
He makes football fun for us. He's not stooping down to anyone's level, but it seems like he's bringing people up to his.
A lot of quarterbacks don't do that because they're prima donnas and, you know, they're kind of jerks and stuff. And they have this ego like, you know, they're the man or whatever. But Donovan's not like that.
He has the ability to draw people to him like a movie star, like a superstar.
Hi, everybody. Say hi to Donovan McNab.
But then when you're with him, he's just one of the guys.
I think the thing that people sort of misunderstand about me is the fact that I'm just like everyone else. You know, I'm just like a little kid in a candy store, just, you know, fulfilling the dream.
Donovan McNab is running around like a teenager, like a 16-year-old kid, making plays.
Being out here playing football is something I love to do, and I want to be the best at it.
But don't you think a quarterback is a little bit different than I mean, Bobby Lane used to say that that football and a quarterback was a caste system. And the team was here, but a quarterback is up here. But you're saying that you don't think that's right?
I think as a quarterback, you need to be a part of your team, part of your family, and let them know that, you know, you're in this thing with them. Let's keep it going,
game,
bro.
baby. We got another week of work. Another week of work.
When you see guys in the paper, you see guys on magazines, you see them on commercials, some people, you know, sort of tend to, you know, think that that guy all of a sudden thinks he's above everyone else. And, you know, and I don't think that way at all.
You get a lot of crap about the chunky soup stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I still get it.
There's no fuzz on this Eagle.
Donovan shaves with chunky soup.
Strahan was Mike, you know, that Monday night game, and they made a little comment about chunky soup.
Ma, I need some more chunky soup.
I didn't like that too much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I guess I ate my chunky soup at the end of the game then. Yeah, I got all that.
Eagles trail by 6. Back goes McNab. Steps up, looks. He is rolling, firing for the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown by James Thrash.
Go, baby.
Now the dulcet tones of Merrill Reese, longtime voice of the Eagles. And thank you, Steve Sable. More pieces just like this on NFL Films Presents. Sean, you're up at 2:30 a.m. on Monday. You can see it then at 2:30 p.m. on Mondays, at Tuesdays, various times. NFL Films Presents this week a look at the Saints. The Saints, a perfect segue to Joe Theismann. Not often used in the same sentence, but at any rate, Joe, happy post-Thanksgiving to you. I had to.
Same to you, Boomer.
Thank you, Joe. We're talking about Donovan McNab, and I mean, last year was a bust-out year, but this year it's not been a bust, especially last couple of weeks, Joe, but it's been, where's the beef? I mean, where's the chunky soup? What do you see going on the last couple of weeks? No TD passes.
There's a lot of soup and not a whole lot of chunks in it. That's been the problem. Donovan McNab has struggled, but you really have to take a look at last year and the early part of this year. What he's done is he has spoiled the fans, he has spoiled his teammate, he has spoiled his coach, and I really believe he spoiled himself. As a matter of fact, we had a chance to sit with him yesterday, and I asked him a couple of questions, and I wanted to know what was going on in his head and what did he think he had to do.
It's just being accurate with the ball. That's all. Just feeling comfortable and just letting the ball go. You know, not to say that I wasn't comfortable in the pocket or comfortable in the passing, you know, game or whatever. It's just completing the ball. Just not feeling comfortable letting the ball go. You know, you go through a course of a game and you get into a rhythm, and just didn't have that rhythm in the past 2 weeks.
You know, Boom, we forget that this is a very long season, and very seldom do you see a quarterback like we've seen out of, say, a Jeff Garcia or a Rich Gannon that just go week after week after week and play it to perfection. Donovan McNabb is still very young. That's something people forget. And his teammates have to remember also, he's not only young, but you look at that wide receiving core, and that's where Andy Reid changed the entire ball club. It's a growing process, and he's going through some growing pains.
Yeah, very young offense, John. I think we should tell people, I know I could speak for you. I don't often get that chance. But, I mean, Donovan McNabb is not one to rest on his laurels. So it's not like he's taking, quote, a little step back because he got big-headed. I mean, we should dispel anybody thinking that. That being said, what do the Eagles need to do down the stretch, and what does he need to do to get out of the funk?
Well, let me just add one thing to what you talked about. He doesn't take anything for granted. It's part of the growth process. Andy Reid has talked about it's a 4-year process for quarterbacks. When he was around Brett Favre, one of the greatest that's ever played the game, and still very magical. He said that there's a time period that a quarterback has to invest. It probably takes 4 years till everything gets assimilated in his mind. Then he can go out and play to the level that he needs to do. He just needs to relax. The one thing that Donovan McNabb, when you sit down with him and you hear him talk, he constantly mentions the word fun. I love to have fun. You'll see tonight, there'll be parts in this game, I'm sure, when he's going to be smiling. But he's got to smile a lot more for this football team to be effective. The last couple of weeks, there's been more of a frown than a smile.
No question about that, Joe. Well, we'll see tonight. You and Mike and Paul and Susie have a good game, all right?
Thanks, Boom. Say hi to the guys for me.
I will, Joe. Thanks. That's the bottom of the hour. Joey T and the gang. Tommy, this day and age, and Sean, the vertical hold button, that's not still on TV sets, is it?
Not on mine.
Well, it's like the Eagles' game plan last week. It was like this. The plays were going like 3 yards out. They can't expect to move the ball running 3-yard pass patterns.
Well, I think that Joe is exactly right. For this team to be successful, Donovan McNabb has to be comfortable, and he needs help to do that. He needs help from his wide receiving core. They not only have to run routes and get open, they have to run those routes at the right distance. We've seen them in 3rd and 7 situations where they run a route at 5 yards, no chance of picking up the first down. We've seen Donovan McNabb be in a position where sometimes he's hanging in the pocket for 3, 4, 5 seconds. That same clock that exists in his head as a quarterback, that 3 count, has to exist for his wide receivers as well. And I think that if he can get that kind of help from from Pinkston and James Thrash, who we have to remember James Thrash was a number 3 in Washington. He's a number 1 in Philadelphia. If he can get help from that group and get some consistency in the running game from Deuce Staley, which he's now starting to get, he can be successful. We all know that Donovan McNabb is an outstanding athlete. I'm going to borrow a line from Steve Young. Steve, if you're watching, get the ball out of your hands if you're the quarterback.
And I think when he does that, he, with his feet and arm, is the ultimate weapon in the National Football League. I'll tell you this, when I was a rookie in Seattle, we had Steve Largent, and I'm not comparing these receivers to Largent, but you know what our coach said on 3rd down? He said, throw the ball to that guy, I don't care if he's double covered, he'll win. If it's 6, he'll get to 8 and come back and do it. And I don't know if right now Donovan McNabb has a guy that he can trust and say it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 10, I'm going to go to you. He has got to get that consistency and trust and believability. And in a West Coast offense, you got to win. And we've seen the inconsistencies in Thrash and Pinkston in this young receiving core. There you see a consistent catch taken to the house. We know Thrash brings the big play. Pinkston, young, exciting. There's a guy named Freddie Mitchell who's on the bench who's going to be exciting also. There you see him coming back for the ball. There's the trust factor. And when you do this, getting the ball out of your hand, make this play. I know it's a little bit underthrown, but you got to come back and get it. And here one more time, trying to stick it in there, and he does. Ball's got to be caught. People aren't always open. It's easy when you're winning 40-0. It's easy when you're up by 3 touchdowns, Boomer. But when he gets a guy he can trust, and those receivers every week win like they do in Oakland, like they do in St. Louis, then it becomes we get to see what might be the best weapon in the National Football League at quarterback.
Teams are defensively game planning against Chad Lewis, the tight end.
the
He was Pro Bowler last year.
That's more reason those guys got to win.
There's your trust. There's your trust. And Freddie Mitchell, Andy took the number 1 as a wide receiver. Been hurt. Haven't seen much yet. Still ahead on this edition of NFL Tonight, a closer look at the wide-open NFC East. The Skins move into contention. Tony Banks leading the charge, and bye week couldn't come soon enough for the Giants. They made a playoff run about this time last year. Do they have it in them again?
Hey, looking great.
The Conair Rechargeable Beard and Mustache Trimmer. Moves in close, trims any style with laser precision. The Beard and Mustache Trimmer. And to create any great haircut, the Conair 17-piece haircutting kit.
I was 43 and had coached football for years before I discovered the importance of my liver. It's taken care of me all these years because I didn't damage it by taking steroids, abusing alcohol, or drugs. I played it clean, and I'm still coaching and having a ball. Take care of your liver. Get vaccinated for hepatitis A and B, and stay away from drugs and alcohol. If you kick your liver around, you may be kicked out of the game of life. Call Hepatitis Foundation International to find out more.
Tomorrow. Let's go. Protect! Behind.
Let's go get our boy back.
Enemy lines. Behind enemy lines. Rated PG-13. Tomorrow. Only in theaters. It's here. Waiting for you. Inside is unlimited strength and power. It builds confidence and reshapes your body. It can change everything. This is Bowflex, an entire gym in one easy-to-use machine. So powerful, it delivers over 60 health club quality exercises with up to 410 pounds of resistance, all in the convenience of your own home. Strength training with Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. And you can own one with no money down and payments as low as $33 per month. Bowflex is real. The results are real. The question is, are you ready for Bowflex? For a free video and brochure, call or go online at bowflexdirect.com. Do the research, listen to real customers, then place your order online and get started. Bowflex. Who said change isn't easy?
War used to be a man's world, but times have changed. Now, meet the powerful women behind the scenes, molding the president's words and making policy here and around the world. How do they do it? They sit down with us to tell you tomorrow on World News Tonight.
Tony Gonzalez, a great threat for the Kansas City Chiefs at home tonight in a special Thursday game. The Chiefs hosting the first place in the NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles. We look at if the playoffs would, there's always danger. If the playoffs would have started out,
going to get you.
We'd have a longer offseason. Bears, Rams, Eagles in first, and then a wild card race will be like this. But looky here, Redskins, after an 0-5 start, are now 5-5. Now, first of all, no team has ever gone 0-5 to go to 5-5, and Marty did it in the minimum 10 games. I mean, that's pretty good. What? How did they get back in this?
Well, Marty finally implemented the game plan that's worked for him everywhere he's gone, and that's a strong dose of running the football. And I think, again, you saw it last weekend, not only with Stephen Davis, but with Kajana Carter, who we really hadn't heard from for 2 years. The 45 carries, 155 yards. They started the game by pounding the Eagles, both in the interior with Kajana Carter, on the outside with Stephen Davis. Here, Stephen Davis bumps it up inside, doesn't find anything, bounces outside for a first down. Kajana Carter comes into the game down in the red zone. Here, breaking a tackle, moves right up the gut for a touchdown. And I think when you run the ball, what happens is you tend to make your quarterback comfortable. And you look at the numbers last week, they're not great numbers, but Tony Banks, 12 of 18, 85 yards, net passing, no mistakes. It gives you a chance to let your defense play, and LeVar Arrington is becoming exactly what they thought he was defensively.
And what a job they've done. The first 5 weeks, we ripped them like crazy, and they're playing football.
We?
Me, all of us.
Everyone.
Yeah. And you know, now they're playing football with the chip on their shoulder, and it's paying off. But you know one thing they've done? We all talk about Marty grinding out with the run and playing defense. But you know what? He and Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, said, we're going to play to our strength, and our strength is handing that ball off 40, 45 times, tackling. But we're going to stretch and do what Tony Banks does best, Rod Gardner, Westbrook, and they're getting into the act. The big play is back in Washington, and they've opened it up. You see Banks here. You remember this game. Gets Carolina, Rod Gardner at the end. Big play. That's that first-round draft pick. Big, strong body with good speed. And then Westbrook. We've been waiting for him to rear his head on a consistent basis. There's the big play. Get into the house, it's throw it down the field, it's play action fake. And when you're running it with your best football player, who is Stephen Davis,
that's right,
and you're pounding it in there and doing that, you can't help but 7-8 guys, Boomer, which gives you one-on-one coverage outside, and they're taking advantage of it. They're not giving the ball to the other team. I'm impressed with the way this team's playing. And right now, playoffs for the NFC East, possibly leading Redskins?
Well, they play the Eagles again in 2 weeks in Washington. We said, will they ever win a game? Now, will they ever lose a game? They're a juggernaut. Just going the other direction. When we return, plenty to come. The Dolphins escaped Buffalo last week by the hair of their chinny-chin-chin. Is the offense waking up just in time? And now we know why LeVar Arrington was so upset last week against the Eagles. We'll be back.
Sidelines. Tonight at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN.
I am the Firestorm cordless multi-tool. I am 3 tools in one. I can saw, I can sand, I can even drill. I'm a one-man construction crew, and that's just the way I like it. I am the multi-tool. I am built by Black & Decker.
Everything go okay?
Yeah, what?
Busted.
PowerShot A10 and A20 digital cameras and card photo printer CP10 from Canon. Are you digital yet?
Unscripted with Chris Connolly. Not just sports talk. It's unrehearsed.
Not intellectual enough to follow that question.
It's unpredictable. Unscripted with Chris Connolly. Weekdays at 5 on ESPN.
College Game Day, presented by Discover Card. Saturday mornings at 10:30 on ESPN.
The NFL has fined Eagles Trey Thomas $7,500 for last week's incident against the Skins. He speared LeVar Arrington while Arrington was on the ground and escaped without penalty. Arrington was flagged for retaliation, and he was fined $15,000. And a good helmet toss. The Dolphins expect to sign a defensive lineman for added depth after they lost back surgery Daryl Gardner. That guy, a name you know, Russell Maryland, who played for Dave Wannstedt when Wannstedt was defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. He's the team's first choice. Maryland's been out of football for 2 months. The Dolphins don't sign Maryland. They probably would pick up Andy Vincent, who was on the Lions practice squad last year. That being said, the offensive line even more banged up than the defensive unit, but they're not looking for help there. We always get help in a home game for our own Hank Goldberg with the Dolphins.
The Dolphins' grand scheme of power running and defense winning games has not materialized in recent weeks because, among other things, of continuing offensive line transition. Last week in Buffalo, Tim Ruddy couldn't go at center. Heath Irwin, who had never played it down at that position in the NFL, started. And a rookie free agent, Troy Andrew, had to step in for guard Mark Dixon, who broke his right ankle.
Everything just went extremely smoothly. I got to give Troy and Heath and the rest of the guys all the credit on that. Things just kept moving exactly the way we would have planned it.
Heath and Troy did a great job on Sunday coming in and filling those roles. And, you know, we were able to go out there and put the pressure on ourselves and say someone's got to come up and make a play. And everyone gathered together, and we were able to do that.
Can we say now that that perhaps you might have to go into games with different, you know, with a different plan, with a different grand plan? But are they finally looking at that and saying, you know, maybe we have to be a pass-first team now instead of a run-first team?
I don't know if we're going to change the grand plan, and I don't know if the you know, that theory really always applies. You know, we go into every game and you know, we're not coming into every game saying, let's run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and then we'll pass it. You know, I think that the change that might occur because of some of these injuries is, you know, we may simplify a few things, simplify our protection, simplify a run blocking scheme, and just make it, you know, so the new guys can come in and get assimilated with the other guys on the offensive line and go out there and just do their job.
I talked with Dave Wannstedt, and he told me that safety Brian Walker will definitely play on Sunday. But Pro Bowl cornerback Sam Madison, while he's been practicing, is still a 50-50 proposition. In Denver, Terrell Davis has been practicing well, and he will carry the ball for the Broncos on Sunday. There is concern about Rod Smith. They're going to take a look at him in practice on Friday. Remember, he played in the Dallas game with one bad ankle and then injured the other one. And Boomer, in the league injury report, it says Rod Smith, ankles. In Miami, I'm Hank Goldberg, ESPN.
Ankles, hopefully not shackles there for Rod Smith, unless you're the Dolphins. And you know what else the Dolphins? Look, Lamar Smith's average yards to carry nowhere near where they were last year. But as far as how often they rush the ball, almost 32 times a game. That's the second most behind only the Steelers. The record of all these teams that run the most, all winning records. Couple notes on the Dolphins. They go into that Denver game, which is the two teams hoping to make the playoffs, obviously. One, I think Jay Fiedler, not only we said it on primetime, Tommy, got the team back by making plays, but he made plays in a game where the defense, frankly, did not play their best. So I think attaboy Fiedler, but boy, what plays made by #1 pick Chris Chambers.
Yeah, he gets it. He gets it. And these rookies, you have to get it if you want to make an impact. When's the last time the Dolphins had these home run hitters at wide receivers? Duper and Clayton. Chris Chambers is not just doing it via the air. He'll also block, but he's making plays in the most critical parts of the game. You remember this a couple weeks ago. Take that back. This is last week. Excuse me. Chambers with the game winner. He caught one just before that, too. 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. This is a couple weeks back against the Colts. You think it's just about playing and catching? Look at the block by Chambers on Burris to give Travis Minor, another home run hitter for the Dolphins, a chance. What this gives Fiedler, Tommy, quite frankly, is a guy, they've got some possession, guys, is you can go up top and get it with a rookie who understands how to get to the house.
Yeah, and also great game planning, I think, by the offensive coordinator, Chan Gailey. You saw that graphic we put up where you saw the teams that rush the ball the most in this league. Now, let's see if we can understand play-action pass. I run the ball with Lamar Smith. We don't run great, but we run a lot. The only two teams that run 25-plus times in every game, them and the Steelers. So we run a lot. When I fake the run, you still think I'm running. You come up, we throw the ball over your head.
Novel concept.
What a novel concept it is, the play-action pass built around running the football and the attempts, the times that you do it.
Well, the Dolphins hosting the Broncos. And if the playoffs were to start right now, it would be a qualified team because the Jets beat them twice. But this is just for fodder. The Steelers and Raiders have definitely established themselves. And you know, there are a lot of teams at or around 500. Maybe a couple more that might get up a little above 500. We'll see. Miami-Denver's a big game this weekend. We got a big game at the bottom of the hour. Kansas City Chiefs hosting the NFC East league-leading, division-leading Philadelphia Eagles.
We gotta get some get back today. You know how you felt after Sunday, baby. Hey, we gotta dominate up front. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
You're going non-stop again. So are we. Midwest Express Airlines, the best care in the air. Same seats, same service, and the fares even better. Midwest Express Airlines, the best care in the air.
2 Kansas City traditions of quality and style. Peter's Clothiers in Overland Park and Jack Henry on the Plaza. Come to Peter's and Jack Henry and you'll get a perfect fit for hard-to-fit sizes or any size. Our dedication to personal service lets you select a new suit today and wear it tomorrow. Come see the clothes that say success for you. 2 Kansas City traditions of quality and style. Peter's Clothiers of Overland Park and Jack Henry on the Plaza.
ESPN brings you great NFL action on Thursday night. Donovan McNab's Eagles have their claws on the NFC East. But first must get past KC's Trent Green and Tony Gonzalez. Eagles Chiefs, 8:30 tonight on ESPN.
College football Saturday. Joe Paterno looks to continue the Nittany Lions' winning ways. Incredibly, with just one more win, Penn State becomes bowl eligible in this record-setting year. Touchdown! Penn State, Virginia, noon Saturday on ESPN.
You're just begging for heartburn, aren't you?
What are you doing?
Forget about these. Here, Norman turned me on to Pepsi Complete.
And?
And I tried one. One. That's all it took.
One?
Mm-hmm. Complete works fast like those, but lasts like those. Just one controls acid all day.
Lasts all day.
Nothing else like it. Where are you going?
Sausages, anyone?
Pepsi Complete. Just one, and heartburn's done.
Roger that. Bandits, 2 o'clock. Tally ho. Splash 1. M1. Gotcha. Splash 2. What's up? Bandits on me. Still on me.
Sorry, Grandma.
Ace Combat 4, rated E for everyone.
Hey, fans revving up for what, Sean? It is good. Boy, it looks chilly out there. But you know what? It's football. Nighttime in Kansas City. And if Philadelphia wants to move the chains on first down or third down or second down or fourth down, maybe they can do it by running the ball. Because if there's one of the things that's put the Chiefs at the bottom of their division is they rank 29th out of the 31 teams in the NFL in rushing defense, almost 135 yards a game. So that's one problem, and it's hard to make a living that way if you give up all those yards on the ground.
There is absolutely no question about it. Go back to 1997 when they were last time the Chiefs were in the playoffs. They were 7th against the run. And led the league in least points allowed. So there is a common denominator here. Stop the run. They haven't been able to do it. And if you don't do that, you're in big trouble. Check it out here. They've been gashed this year. Now, these are two pretty good runners they're getting gashed by in this highlight. There's Jerome Bettis. He's done it to everybody, but you still got to put a body. It's almost like they're afraid to tackle somebody. When the Chiefs are at their best, back in the days with Albert Lewis and Duron Cherry, they played defense against the run. Here's Curtis Martin getting in. If they're going to win tonight, they better take away, stop first down, but they also better stop the run, because if they don't, McNab and that group will go crazy because they won. They're good on the road, is Philadelphia.
Yeah, and Trent Green has to be more careful with the football. I think when you look at this football team and you see how good they play on first down, where they get 6+ yards, whether they're running or throwing the football, and then their third down conversion is not very good. This is a ball club that's not playing well at the quarterback position. 9 touchdowns, 16 interceptions for Trent Green thus far this year. A team that moves the ball 20-20, but the mistakes down in the red zone, when you have an opportunity to score, I think those are the mistakes that really will come back and haunt you as a football team. When Trent Green is made comfortable by Priest Holmes running the football and is throwing the ball and not making the mistakes, I think the Kansas City offensively, and statistically it bears out, they can be as good as anybody in the league. And maybe they are the mini Rams, because the Rams lead the league in turnovers, and certainly maybe he got used to doing that in this style of offense.
Well, Kansas City's what, a -5? Philly's a +7. That you can throw out a lot of numbers. I'm really looking to see if Philly shows a little
How they
authority
respond.
tonight.
You bet.
Yes, how they respond to that loss.
But I said it last week. I thought they were coming.
Yes.
They were coming to Kansas City.
Got to be 53 of them, too. No doubt. You need 53 of them.
Well, we've got a couple of thoughts or two left on our game. Then we'll send it out to our crew out at KC with Mike and Paul and Joe and Susie. Here's Priest Holmes, 900+ yards. You know, Priest usually good on a Sunday. Can he do it on a Thursday? We'll be back.
Ooh, that's why I'm easy, baby. I'm easy like Sunday morning, yeah. Oh, I'm easy like Sunday morning. I wanna be high, so high.
brand of inspiration, you can build most anything, including memories. Delta's table saw, scroll saw, and compound miter saw, specially priced for the holiday season.
Be a winner. Take one. You are KG.
I am KG.
If the D's in the dime, call an audible split belly.
You are smart.
I am smart.
3rd and 10.
Where's Moss?
There he is. 18 yards out. Get it straight. You gotta believe in yourself.
I am powerful.
Sega Sports.
Rated E for everyone. Now, from the NFL Shop, you can customize your NFL replica jersey. Pick a team, choose a number, your name, or favorite player. 1-877-NFL-SHOP now.
Coming up on SportsCenter, the Manning and Mora soap opera continues in Indy. Why is Terry Glenn still on the sidelines? And what players will top the draft charts next April? Mel Kiper knows his top 10. You will too. Join yours truly, Chris Berman and Dan Patrick after the Eagles and Chiefs.
NFL Tonight is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
NFL Tonight, next edition tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern. Mark Malone and the gang, every night, talking football here on ESPN or ESPN2. So the Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. And this is, look, we're looking at McNab. We're looking to see what the Chiefs do. But, you know, in this day and age, it's so hard to keep units together. I enjoy, as a football fan, watching the Eagles secondary play together. Taylor and Vincent at the corners.
Brian
Dawkins. There's no free safety. I don't think better than him at free safety, which that bodes. It's tough for Tony Gonzalez to get open against that secondary. I like the way they play as a unit.
And to me tonight, that's what I'm looking for, Boomer. I don't expect Jimmy Johnson, the Eagles defensive coordinator, to back off at all. Bring 7, 8, and 9, put Taylor and put Vincent on those wide receivers, and make the Kansas City Chiefs perimeter people beat me tonight.
And that's why I think the only way that Donovan McNab and his receiving corps can have any kind of success against the Chiefs, I think, is that they have to run the ball. The thing I look at both of these teams, neither one of these teams has very good rush defense. If you're going to be the Chiefs, you got to run the ball to get some things open downfield.
Look, the Eagles go into the night with just a one-game lead in their division. They're going to make it curiouser and curiouser.
Yes,
somebody
of course.
High scoring, low scoring.
Low scoring. Big
Yes.
play will win
Low.
this game somewhere. Low scoring.
Honorary members of the Blackjack division. You mean you can't 17?
This is it. Yeah, this is it.
Oh, we'll see you at halftime. We'll talk to Jeff Garcia, the quarterback of the Niners, live at halftime as well. Sean Salisbury, Tom Jackson, good to see you. I'm Chris Berman.